Yeah, and that's super one of the big motivations. So like I grew up in a facility where it was like you sit them down, you do the consultation, you talk to them, you do the thing, and then you make the pitch and you do the whole thing. And I hate it. I mean, like I love it. I love connecting with people, but I hate the amount of time it takes to because at the end of the day, what's the goal? You want to help dogs,
Yeah.
right? How can we help dogs? And so it's like content helps really bypass that amount of time. It gets people to get to know you better, to get to know your systems, to get to know what you're about, to get to know your philosophies, to align themselves, before you even meet,
Yeah,
right?
lowers the
And
barrier to entry.
100%. And I think that is everything you just said has gone through this brain, and that's why 2021 is going to be a big year for me.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see what you got. Just getting to know a little bit more about your background too. It's like it's
Yeah,
obvious that this is just it's going to be exciting to probably do like another interview in another year on the same show and just see
I
how
would
it's
love that.
evolved. Or
Well, we are planning on doing a you ever seen like those Hollywood Reporter roundtables?
yeah,
Yeah, we're
that's a cool
planning
idea.
we're,
We're gonna
we're
have to totally talk after this because
yeah, we're planning on doing that with, whoever wants to be on, but we're hoping, all the people we've had on our podcast, that would be the top like 20 dog training questions.
yeah, there's just I guess like for anyone that's out there listening that's a new dog trainer, even an old dog trainer that's just like, man, I'm burnt out of like the same old same. There's actually so much opportunity in this industry. Like, I don't want to keep harping on my business background, but like it's taught me things that I do when I start, which is like I do market research. I evaluate like the CAG-R growth rate of the entire industry and like how much is spent on dog training services and how many
Mhm.
percentage of people even have their dog trained that own dog. Like all these details matter and they don't need to matter to everyone, right? Like it
Yeah,
just
yeah,
depends
yeah.
on what you're trying to do. But like it's important. I say that so that people understand that like there really is so much opportunity. There's so many people that need help with their dogs and like at the end of the day, like there's a lot of change that needs to happen, but it's up to dog trainers on the ground floor to be the people that pass on the education. So it's like when people are like, oh, I'm just not a people person or this and that, it's like you're doing a huge disservice to yourself, but also to all those people that really could benefit from the knowledge that you have if you
Mhm.
just didn't have the mentality that you're not a people person, because
Mhm, mhm,
this is definitely a people person industry.
mhm,
Like
mhm, mhm.
if you're truly like, if you want to be a dog trainer and just be in the behind the scenes, that's amazing. Like,
Yeah.
that's a choice, and that's where that self-awareness comes in. But if
Mhm,
you want to be a business owner, operator, and you want to
mhm.
contribute to the greater story of how dog training evolves in the
Yeah.
world over time, like you have to be an active participant in like the movement of how that gets done.
Yeah, and that's a common fear. Like you had like being a ghost trainer in the background, like working the dogs, doing the reps. Like anyone who
Yeah.
comes through my programs who want to become dog trainers, they always start there. Like I just want to
Yeah.
train dogs. But
Mhm.
how do you build up and foster that confidence to be like, you can be that person teaching group classes, you can be that person making content, you can be that person, and it's like, yeah, it's really mentorship. Like we have to
Yeah.
mentor. That's what this content is doing. It's mentoring the next generation of dog trainer, which is
Yeah,
wonderful.
and you have to like seek it out too, right? Like
Hmm.
you can't think that like you're just going to naturally attain the skills to operate a business, right? Like a lot of us kind of just pivot and adjust
No.
as we go along, and but like that if you really want to, turn a career where you're working, like be self, whether it's just self-employed, you just have to have a strategy of like how you're going to increase your livelihood over time, because
Hmm.
a lot of people start that way and then 5 years in, when they realize like, dang, I'm making what I made years ago, but I'm so much better now, that's when
Hmm.
that bitterness starts to set in, when people feel like they're like not getting what they deserve. And at the end of the day, that's what is so amazing about the world we live in, is that the market really decides. Like everyone has a fair chance. Like I'm not saying our content's better than anyone else's. We see when people tag us or say nasty things or like, share things on their stories and whatnot. It's like, I see it just because I happen to follow you, but most people don't see it. Only other people that are seeing it are people that are in your very small circle, and it's just
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
at the end of the day, the market decides who they're going to watch. And usually it rewards people that are really have good intentions and are doing good stuff over a long period of time.
I'm putting in the
Um,
work. I mean, putting in the
yeah,
work.
like things grow, just things crash just as fast as they grow, and so
Mhm.
really, like at the end of the day, it really just comes down to making sure that you are living up to your own values. And if you're doing that and you're going about it in a way that is, you know honorable and it has integrity, and you feel like you're sharing your truth, no matter if it's in the local downtown corner training a dog and just talking to people, or a podcast, or creating hours of video content, like you have to feel good in knowing that, you're contributing to a grander something that's beyond yourself, right? And I think that's where ultimately, like, that's where people have to decide, like, what lane do they want to be in when it comes to that long term.
Totally
Definitely.
agree. I wanted to ask you guys a closing question. We ask every guest that comes on the podcast. So it started with our first interview with Michael Ellis. This is crazy. The first guest we ever got was Michael Ellis, right? So
It's
we're
a
just
badass interview to have. Yeah.
That's super cool.
How did that? It's because
That's a super motivating interview. Like, after you do, that's like, okay, cool. We got some steam now.
Let's go. Yeah, let's go. So like COVID happened. He's like, I'm not fucking doing anything. So he said, sure. Right. To this nobody podcast. Right. And so here's a question. So we know as dog trainers that there's a certain form of artistry, right, to this, right? And it's if we were going to look at imagine that there was a canvas and there was paints and there was brushes and there was, all these different colors and stuff. So we asked everybody who we've interviewed, like, if we were going to describe artistry as dog training, like, what is it that like, what would you add to this metaphor? So we asked Michael Ellis, we said, so what are the different colors? And he goes, oh no, sorry. We asked Tyler Muto. Sorry. We asked Tyler, what are the different colors? He goes, your principles of learning. Those are your colors. So your operant conditioning, your classical conditioning, your reinforcement schedules, all that. Those are your colors. Learn your colors, learn how to mix different colors, learn, different shades and all that stuff. Right. Then we asked Michael Ellis, we said, so, okay, so what would you add to this metaphor? And he goes, technique and technical skill. Like, you got to put the reps in, you got to get good at something. You got to be able to memorize it in your body, because if you don't memorize it in your body, you're not going to know it. Let's see. We asked a couple of our guests from South America. They said, be honest, like very universal principle, be honest, hard work. We asked Tommy, what did we ask Tommy? We asked them about, shit, I'm forgetting. Sorry, Tommy.
Tommy's advice was just, pick a lane and stick true to it. It was be authentic. It was keep it simple.
Mm-hmm. And so when we're approaching this dog training as artistry, what ultimately would you add to this metaphor, right? And I guess I'm just going to leave it open to that. What would you guys add? I know it's a little broad and a little hard to kind of narrow down, but like, what would you add to this metaphor as dog training as art?
Yeah, I'm not sure if like I'm going to be giving the right answer, but I think that like when you're giving all those examples, something that I would add is just like the connection to people, because that's really like what a lot of this is. You can hands down, like for me, I'm a little baby infant trainer. Like I'm totally fine saying that. There are people that can train a dog in circles around me all day long, but I can connect with people. I can connect with them on a very deep level. And through that connection, I can provide them this education that I have really cultivated, that like I know and I'm very strong in. And so I think that like if I could add as dog training as an art, like one of my most important tools in my toolbox is like that level of connection that I'm able to get with people. Because if I know that like when I don't connect with people, my education of like what is going to be really important to find success with their dog is going to be kind of lost on them, because they're not really going to be receiving that information. So I'm not sure if that answers your question.
That was literally better than I could ever ask for. That's exactly
perfect.
what I was thinking of. I mean, and it's not even what I want to hear. It's what's the truth, right? Like in these universal truths of being good with people. We run into that all the time, right? People who want to mentor us or shadow us. It's like, I got in the dog industry because I don't really like people that much. And you're like, well, I got news for you, buddy. Like you got to get good with people. Sorry.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's so funny. Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you guys just so much for being so open with your past and your expertise and just the hard work that you guys have been putting in. I guess let's just leave it up to you guys. Is there any last message you want to give to young dog trainers in the industry just working their way up to try and hopefully make this their career, or people who have been doing this for a long time who are looking for a reset or looking for a new spark. Anything you guys want to tell our audience?
I think if I could impart one thing to the audience that's listening, would just be to really keep the same spirit that, like, wherever you are in your journey, whether you're late in it or if you're just starting out, like when you're just starting something out, you're filled with this, just like, I don't know how to describe it. Like everyone's felt that thing where like they've come upon a passion and like, it's just all they want to do. Right. And like, I think that it's really important that as people go through this journey, whatever direction it takes them, is to never forget how they felt when they had just started, and to remember that trigger, whatever that trigger moment was, or that paradigm shift where they knew that this was supposed to be what they were supposed to do. Like that is the thing that is going to ultimately stick with people the most, like that story. I think that the reason, like why we've enjoyed this process is because like we've really just been able to share our story, and our story just happens to resonate with people. So, for everyone out there, just like never forget to tell your story, and don't forget the value of your story, because the value of that changes as you progress, right? It might seem like, especially when people start out, right, and they feel like they've accomplished nothing, it seems so unimportant at the time, right? But years down the road, you never know what that is going to grow into. So I guess the lasting quote that I'll leave is that you reap what you sow, just not where you sow it. So that's just something to remember.
Cool. I love that. That's amazing. How about you, Natalie?
And I think as one fellow dog trainer to another fellow dog trainer, if you are listening to this, especially if you're starting out, is that the bad times and the negative things that people say to you, they're going to pass. It is going to pass. People aren't going to remember. If you are confident in your mission of what it is that you are trying to accomplish, and you are doing it with integrity and you are doing it with grace, then people are going to recognize that. So don't give too much credit to the mean things that people say. Still, even regardless of that, just don't become hard. Collaborate with other people, share your knowledge, share your education, share your passion, and continue to learn, and be okay being wrong. Because you know what? All of us are wrong at some point, and there's even people out there right now that you may look up to them, but chances are they may be doing something incorrect. And it's just the way that learning sort of happens. So yeah, a couple of different things, but that's what I would say to people.
I love it. Anything you want to say, Mariano?
Awesome. No, thank you guys so much. And I'm so sorry. I'm the reason we kind of had to cut this short, because I've got to run here, but we would love to have you guys back on.
Yeah, absolutely.
For a part two.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Who knows? By then you guys might have like a studio, or like you'll have this. Who knows? Like I'm excited to see.
Well, I appreciate it. You know what? It's interesting because we've talked about this with everybody. It's like, game respects game. And there's this certain level of like, we can feel the passion through the screen and the internet, and we know what we're trying to do. And so I'm excited to see, 10 years from now, 15 years from now, what happens with everybody.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. But I'm ready to put my head down and just get to work, so thank you guys so much for your time. All right, guys, we want to thank Natalie Dobkins and Matt Hubble from Canine Performance for sharing their time and their expertise with us. I hope this has been so valuable for you guys. This is nuts to be able to hear all their insights and their story, and hopefully you guys found some inspiration from this work. If you guys found this episode valuable, please make sure you guys share it. Please share it just with one other person. It could be a dog trainer, could be a dog owner, could be someone with even an unrelated business. Because honestly, I think the information you guys are giving is universal. It doesn't matter what industry you're in. It's super universal. And again, I just want to thank you guys so much for listening. If you guys have any questions or comments or anything, please go ahead and leave it on your designated podcast platform, or go ahead and leave comments here in our YouTube channel, or email us at DOGTRAINERSPODCAST@gmail.com if you guys have any ideas for upcoming episodes. And again, I want to thank you guys, Natalie and Matt, so much for joining us on episode 41. We really appreciate your guys' time here. Thank you guys so much. And we hope nothing but the best for you guys in 2021. And we're so excited to see what Canine Performance has to offer.
Absolutely. Sounds good, guys.
Awesome.
Thanks for having us.
All right,
Thank you guys so much.
We'll see you later. Peace.
Bye now.
Bye, guys.